तादयन्ति भक्ति चेत् तर्जयन्ति अपरे वाग्भि स्तेनोऽयम् इति वादिनः बध्नन्ति रज्ज्वाक्तं केचिद् बध्यताम् iti. Although he had taken a vow of silence, they would try to make him speak. And if he did not speak, they would beat him with sticks. Others would chastise him, saying, "This man is just a thief." And others would bind him up with rope, shouting, "Time up, time up." So you can see how just being a devotee irritates the materialistic people so much. So we should not, that is why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, be tolerant in this material world. While you're doing devot, you have to chant Hare Krishna in a very humble frame of mind and also very tolerant. Kshipanti eke avajananta esha dharma dvajashata kshina vitta imam vrittim agrahitsva janojita. They would criticize and insult him, saying, "This man is just a hypocrite and a cheat. He makes a business of religion simply because he lost all his wealth and his family threw him out." See how they become so disturbed by anybody worshipping Krishna. It's a big distress to the evil people. That's why all, asuras hate the devotees. Why should they get disturbed? Devotees don't at all worry them in any way. They don't do anything to them. Then why do they hate them so much? It's just the fact that why they are worshipping Krishna. The anger is towards Krishna and they don't like anybody connected with Krishna or anybody worshipping him, glorifying him. They can't stand it. It is something that happens in the subconscious. In fact, they themselves may not know why I'm hating this person. Why he is just peacefully sitting quietly and worshipping the Lord. What is it to me? Why should I try and disturb him? They themselves cannot make out, but it is coming from a deep rooted envy and hatred towards Krishna. I mean, it happens if you don't like somebody, anybody even slightly connected with them will hate them. So that is how, when you become a devotee, you become very dear to the Vaishnavas and ordinary people and to all the asuric people, evil people. They start hating you and want to destroy you. अहो एष महासारो धृतिमान् गिरिरादिव मौनेन साधयति अर्थं भगवद्दृढनिश्चय इति एके विहसन्ति एनम् एके दुर्वातयन्ति च तं निरुरुधुर् yata kridanakam dvijam. Some would ridicule him by saying, "Just see this greatly powerful sage. He's as steadfast as the Himalayan mountains. By practice of silence, he strives for his goal with great determination, just like a duck." Other persons would pass foul air upon him, and sometimes others would bind this twice born Brahmana in chains and keep him captive like a pet animal. Imagine what all he had to endure. Evam sa bhautikam dukkam daivikam daihikam cha yat bhoktavyam atmano dishtam praptam abudhyata. The Brahmana understood that all is suffering from other living beings, from the higher forces of nature, and from his own body. Adi Devik, Adi Bhautik, Adhyatmik was unavoidable, being allotted to him by providence. Purport: many cruel persons harassed the Brahmana, and his own body caused him suffering in the form of fever, hunger, thirst, fatigue, etc. The higher forces of nature are those that cause excessive heat, cold, wind, and rain. The Brahmana realized that his suffering was due to his false identification with the material body and not to the interaction of his body with external phenomena. Rather than try to adjust his external situation, he tried to adjust his Krishna consciousness and thus realize his actual identity as eternal spirit soul. How very educative it is to us. We are all the time bothered about how, or all the external things. Only if everything is fine, then I will think of Krishna. Otherwise, I'll go on a hartal. Krishna, I'm becoming your devotee, I'm coming to you, but all these problems are there. I cannot do devotional service. But actually, we have to realize that everything is arranged by Krishna only. And Krishna, in his kindness, is giving all these things so that he can quickly come out of it. He has done. I mean, it's not that when you become a devotee, you'll get suffering. He had been very much attached and he had to be pure, he has to be purified. And Krishna knows exactly how to purify each person. His was a gross kind of anartha. He was really attached to money and miserliness, didn't take care of his family or himself. I mean, very, very deep, gross attachment. So he had to go through this. It's not that anyone who starts chanting and becoming a devotee will have to face the same kind of things. According to whatever is our weakness, according to that, we will get some corrections and purifications. But rather than try to adjust his external situation, he tried to adjust his Krishna consciousness. That is common for everyone. And thus realize his actual identity as eternal spirit soul. And once we identify like that, we will not suffer. First stage will be, we'll not even feel the pain. And second stage will be, the suffering will stop because the disease is gone. So no more medicine, treatment, finished treatment. So the first stage when we are going through suffering is, and we are still continuing to do devotional service, we will not experience that pain much because we are identifying as servant of Krishna and not with our body and mind. No pain. You say anything you want, so what? It doesn't at all touch me. So that is the first step. And second step is Krishna will think, okay, he's become cured now. Now no more suffering. Paribhuta imam ghatam aghayata naradamai patayad bhisva dharmastu dhritim astaya satvikim. Even while being insulted by these low-class men who were trying to effect his downfall, he remained steady in his spiritual duties. Fixing his resolution in the mode of goodness, he began to chant the following song. So Krishna is very, I mean, see, from Krishna we should learn. When you tell in the form of a story, all the examples and all that, we can really um, understand it very clearly from his example. Simply, if anyway, he also gives instructions. But Avanti Brahmana's life is a very good example for us. And it is also, we have to be resolved in the mode of goodness. One thing is, as a result of devotional service, we will become mode of goodness and all that. It's a byproduct and all that. But we should also try to become mode of goodness externally also, so that we can progress faster. Resolution in the mode of goodness is described in Bhagavad Gita 18.33 as Dhritya Yaya Dharayate. Down here. This. Dhritya Yaya Dharayate Manaha Pranendriya Kriyaha Yogena Vyabhicharinya Dhriti Sa Partha Satviki. O son of Pritha, that determination which is unbreakable, which is sustained with steadfastness by yoga practice and thus controls the mind, life, and acts of the senses, is in the mode of goodness. So, being steadfast to the yoga practice, and in this way, that should control the mind, life, and acts of the senses. Senses also should act in the mode of goodness. Life also should be based on the mode of goodness. Mind also should not think of passionate things and tamoguna things, but in the mode of goodness for self-realization, seeing everything, the spiritual aspect of life, and so on. Atheists who are envious of the devotees of the Supreme Lord are called Naradamas, or the lowest of men, and undoubtedly are en route to hell. By all means at their disposal, they disturb the devotional service of the Lord, sometimes by direct attack, and sometimes by mockery. The devotees, however, remain tolerant, fixing their determination in the mode of goodness. One good, I mean, the Hindus at a big community, we can see 500 years we were deprived. That is just one place in Ayodhya. You cannot worship. They destroyed the temple, everything. But see the determination of the devotees. We will get it back. So, in that way, somehow it has withstood 1,000 years of complete domination and trying to stop this religion by so many ways. But still, you cannot do it. So that is mode of goodness. And that is essentially Vedic life because we've been following Vedic lifestyle over so many centuries. It is still there. And there are, I mean, those who are envious of the devotees, lowest of men, they they try to disturb the devotional service of the Lord, sometimes by direct attack and sometimes by mockery. Imagine how much we've been attacked, killed. Whenever they, any village, they'll get a um, news, your Muslim king is coming, he's coming. And so run, run. Some, they normally first thing, they snatch hold of the deity and go and put him somewhere in a bush or under, they bury him, and then they run for their lives. This has happened in so many villages, so many towns in India. And our own, like my in-laws, their Prabhu's family's village in Salem, like that, the Muslims were invading. And I don't know, maybe they didn't have enough time or what. They couldn't take the deity and put this thing. So, but they all left the village. And after some time, they came back. The deity, imagine that idiot said, um, disfigured by doing something to the nose. So that deity is also kept in the entrance, and then they installed another this thing, and then everything started. But this is the kind. So firsthand, I saw the effect of these people attacking villages and really disturbing the place. Why did they have to attack the deities? That is the asuric, lowest of men, is what they do. As described by Rupa Goswami in Upadeshamrita, number 1, Vacho Vegam Manasaha. No, the devotees, however, remain tolerant, fixing their determination in the mode of goodness. As described by Srila Rupa Goswami in Sri Upadeshamrita 1, Vacho Vegam Manasaha, Krodha Vegam, Jihva Vegam, Udaropasta Vegam, Etan Vegan Yo Vishaheta Dhiraha, Sarvam Apimam, Prithvim Chashishyat. A sober person who can tolerate the urge to speak, the mind's demands, the actions of anger, and the urges of the tongue, belly, and genitals is qualified to make disciples all over the world. Imagine it's all there. Easily we can control. But in a sustained way, if we can control always, it is under us. Every sense is under our direction. Then we become perfect and we can qualify to take disciples all over the world. Jagat Guru, just by controlling urge to speak, mind's demands, actions of anger, urges of the tongue, belly, and genitals, then that's it, self realized. So that is acting in the mode of goodness. Then never will we fall down into, Rajoguna and all that. No temptations, no anger by which we just harm somebody or curse them. None of that. One has to be totally self controlled. That is acting in the mode of goodness, resolution in the mode of goodness. Text 42. Dvija uvacha Nayam jano me sukha dukha hetur na devatma graha karma kala manah param karanam amananti Samsara chakram parivarat parivartayet yat, the Brahmana said. These people are not the cause of my happiness and distress. Neither are the demigods, my own body, the planets, my past work, or time. Rather, it's the mind alone that causes happiness and distress and perpetuates the rotation of material life. He had really come to the proper conclusion, perfect conclusion. Because normally because we are seeing everything externally, we always want to find one external cause for everything. We want to blame somebody for it. Whatever doesn't happen properly in my life, we'll find out somebody who's the cause, and then we get very agitated. They may be also, there may be immediate causes who are trying to give us pain or suffering. It may be there, but they are not really they are just intermediaries, or they're just instruments. And happiness and distress doesn't depend upon what happens to us externally, but a mind, how it responds to that situation. If the mind is always thinking of Krishna, it will not be affected. It will always be happy. We will always be happy if the mind is fixed on Krishna. But because we waver, we, to be fixed in the mind, if the mind to be fixed in on Krishna, we have to understand that I am only a servant of Krishna. I'm not an enjoyer. And every time we forget that and we think I'm an enjoyer, we get into body consciousness. And that's when pain and suffering and happiness, all that attacks our mind, I mean, influences our mind and senses. So it is in our hand whether to suffer or not. So when we are feeling pain, instead of blaming others, cursing others, we get very angry. They are the cause of my suffering or something else. Neither the demigods, my own body, the planets, my past work, that is Adi Devik, Adi Bhautik, Adhyatmik, none of this actually is the cause of my happiness and suffering. Rather, it is the mind alone that causes happiness and distress and perpetuates the rotation of material life. So, as long as we are going to be attached to the body and mind, Krishna, allows these things. It's not that he creates all this for us just because we became a devotee, but our past karma is coming and Krishna allows it. He can take it away, but because we're still little attached to the body and mind, he allows a little bit of it to be there so that we'll become detached and attached to our original position of being a servant of Krishna. That is all. The minute we forget we are servant of Krishna, we become bodily identified. And then all the pleasure and pain influences us. So we only are to be blamed. Whenever we feel some pain, then we should know, oh, I forgot. I'm a servant of Krishna. And that's why we should chant Hare Krishna mantra, hmm, and then experience the happiness of being a servant of Krishna. That's such a privilege of being an intimate associate of Krishna. We're okay. Right now, we are far away from Him, but internally, we can be, we can still connect with Krishna and be very dear to Him and try to do whatever He says. That's up to us. Now, when we forget that relationship and we think I'm this body and I want to enjoy something myself, I did it, and all this false ego in the mind, we feel like that, then naturally pain will, whatever doesn't happen the way we want, causes us intense agony and pain and suffering. Then we don't know, we can choose, this is my fault. Who asked me to identify myself with the body? I am a servant of Krishna. And then you feel immense happiness from within, and you won't even notice what is the problem. There's no problem at all. I'm so blissfully happy. And problems also go away. That is the mystical aspect for a devotee, for anyone for that matter, but materialists because they don't even think about Krishna. So for them, only the pain and suffering and the happiness, the relative happiness of this material world is the only reality. They will look at us and say, "You're just telling some nonsense. You're just imagining." And it's not imagination, because we know we are souls and we are servants of Krishna. And originally, as a servant of Krishna, there is no suffering at all. That's why in the spiritual world, there is no suffering. Why in the material world there is suffering? Especially in Kali Yuga maximum. Why? Because we've forgotten Krishna completely, identifying with our body. Naturally, any small things also makes us suffer so much, right? Because we've become so intolerant and too much identifying with our body, and it makes us very intolerant. So that is why he is saying that he's preaching to his mind with his intelligence and trying to be fixed in spiritual consciousness. Mano gunan vai srijate bali, yes, tatascha karmani vilakshanani shuklani krishnani atalohitani tebhya savarna shritayo bhavanti. The powerful mind actuates the functions of the material modes from which evolve the different kinds of material activities in the mode of goodness, ignorance, and passion. From the activities in each of these modes, develop the corresponding statuses of life. In the mode of goodness, one considers oneself to be a saintly or wise person. In the mode of passion, one struggles for material success. And the mode of ignorance, one becomes cruel, lazy, and sinful. By the combination of the material modes, one identifies oneself as a demigod, a king, a rich capitalist, a wise scholar, etc. These conceptions are material designations generated from the modes of nature, and they arrange themselves according to the tendency of the powerful mind to enjoy temporary sense gratification. The word baliyas in this verse, meaning very strong, indicates that the material mind becomes insensitive to intelligent advice. Even if we are informed that we are committing many sins and offenses in order to earn money, we may still think that money should be acquired at all costs, since without it one can neither perform religious ceremonies nor gratify the senses with beautiful women, mansions, and vehicles. Once the money is achieved, one suffers further problems, but the stubborn mind will never heed good advice in this regard. One must therefore give up mental concoction and control the mind in Krishna consciousness, as exemplified here by the Brahmana from Avanti. So the mind, because it's in different modes. In the mode of goodness, okay, we identify ourselves very wise and pious, saintly, and in Rajoguna, we identify with whatever material success, we are very much attached to that, working hard for that, and in ignorance, cruel, lazy, and sinful. So these modes, I mean, they make a variety of personalities, right? Based on how much of goodness, how much of passion, how much of ignorance. In this way, but we get different designations generated from the modes of nature, and it is all arranged based on the mind. The mind is the center. It wants temporary sense gratification. And this desire is very strong. And so the mind becomes stubborn. See, there are some people very stubborn. How much ever you tell them, advise them, they will not listen. Even if we are informed that we are committing many sins and offenses in order to earn money, we may still think. So that's what, due to attachment to whatever sense gratification, we just think it's okay, I will do it. So much driven by the mind. The mind, then intelligence is lost, right? Only when on the intellectual platform, we can be in different levels of consciousness. We can be on the physical platform, like basically more in the physical, like the animals, insects, birds, all this, totally identifying with just body and sense gratification. Or we can be on the mental platform where we are all the time thinking, human beings. For human beings, mind is more active. And so they decide, any number of ways. See, because be, below the human beings, their mind is, they don't have a mind only. Mind is fully controlled by Krishna, and they only enjoy physically. And as a human being, mind is also activated. So, on the mental platform, we are conceiving of so many desires, and in the human platform. And then, if we become more, if we control the mind a bit, then we are on the intelligent platform or intellectual platform, where we can see that, why am I that, we can see how the mind is working. It is fickle, running here and there, thinking of so many things. Somebody who's very mental, whimsical, that means they, today I don't have any mood, so I cannot do that. Everything based on their mood. What does my mind feel? That only I will do. So that is very, very unreliable. That is how we become very irresponsible, unreliable. One day we will say, I will do very much. We are very enthusiastic about spiritual life. Another day we don't do anything because the mind is still active. And somehow, when by studying all this, by chanting, our intelligence becomes more activated, then we can control the mind. Stop it now. You just don't think about it. Now you chant. We have to tell the mind, now this is not the way. This will just bring my destruction. And anyway, chanting is the only solution. So I am going to chant no matter what, or do service or whatever. So when on that platform, we can control the mind. And above the intellectual is the spiritual, transcendental platform, where we intelligence even is material, because um, we are considering things, we are telling based on, it's the next door neighbor of the soul, in the sense that intelligence becomes more activated when we follow spiritual practices. But still, there is identification with the intelligence, right? Some, on the mental platform, we identify with our mind. We think, I'm the mind. Okay, I'm not the body, but I'm the mind. And in the intellectual platform, we think, I'm not even the mind, but I'm intelligence. So they become attached to their intelligence. They become proud that, see, I am very intelligent. But higher than that is the soul, which is not connected with any of these. It's on the transcendental platform. So, only, so the stubborn mind. So the intelligence, even if it advises, the stubborn mind will never heed good advice. And so he's saying, one must, Prabhupada, I mean, the purport, one must therefore give up mental concoction and control the mind in Krishna consciousness. So when we do spiritual practices, then the soul becomes stronger because it's waking up, and then the intelligence also becomes purified. Intelligence becomes strong, then it can control the mind, and mind can control the senses. So that is how, by by chanting Hare Krishna, we're able to control the senses. And this is the real miracle, that people were very amazed when Prabhupada went and made all those people who are totally sense gratifiers, running after all illicit sex, meat eating, gambling, drunkards, people, drug addicts. And then he made them give up all those and be very, very bright and saintly and clean. Everybody was shocked. How can you do that? Mhm. It is based on this. Atma you work on, then automatically all the lower things will fall in line. Done. Aniha Atma Manasa, Aniha Atma Manasa Samihata, Hiranmayo Matsaka Udvichashte, Manah Swalingam Parigrihya Kaman, Jushan Nibadho Gunasangato Sau. Although present along with a struggling mind within the material body, the super soul is not endeavoring because he is already endowed with transcendental enlightenment. Acting as my friend, he simply witnesses from his transcendental position. I, the infinitesimal spirit soul, on the other hand, have embraced this mind, which is the mirror reflecting the image of the material world. Thus, I've become engaged in enjoying objects of desire, and I'm entangled due to the contact with the modes of nature. So he was preaching very nicely, he got realization that what is my position? Here with my I'm struggling mind within this material body. So that is what Kshetrajna, inside this Kshetra, the body is the Kshetrajna struggling with the mind. And also with me, I'm not alone. He is this personality, super soul is also there, but he is very cool. He is not doing anything, and he is very happy. He is in transcendental position and acting as my friend. He is simply watching. Unless there is so much compassion and love for the Lord, why would he make one expansion simply to be with us and see us? That is his only job. Vishnu, the Purusha avatars, and why do they come here? They have no other work. I mean, their only function is to watch over us. That's all, to take care of us. And imagine, he's just watching. So much love. He's waiting. How many zillions of millions, zillions, I don't know. After that, what is the, how many lives we have not listened, bothered about him. He's standing next to us and we're not at all aware of him. And we keep doing whatever we want. We are the slaves of our mind. And through all this, as our friend, is just watching, giving us time, arranging different experiences. At least this fool, now at least will he get rectified, is waiting. But we're so stubborn. No, I want to enjoy with my mind and my senses. We have rebelled against the Paramatma, and he is patiently standing there. Can you imagine how patient he is? Then he simply witnesses from his transcendental position. I, the infinitesimal spirit soul, on the other hand, have embraced this mind, which is the mirror reflecting the image of the material world. That is how we are all connected to the material world. All of us have got a material mind, which is simply like what the material world is like. Now, sometimes I used to wonder how everybody's got similar type of desires, similar type of the reactions, responses. How is this all happening? This is why, um, because the mind is actually created by, it's a product of material energy created by Krishna. Otherwise, you see, according to karmas, same thing people behave. I used to wonder how the small children in Kali Yuga now, last few years, all children born, they're tech savvy from the time of their birth, and they all reach out to the mobile like anything, and you just give one mobile, finish. The child is very happy. That's all the child wants from the time of birth. Only they want mobile. Maybe the mother sat and did all the time looking at the mobile. I don't know. No, the genes. I mean, I don't know. So it is all created by Maya, material energy, and so it is a mirror reflecting the image of the material world. Thus, I've become engaged in enjoying objects of desire, and I'm entangled due to contact with the modes of nature. So, this awakening has to happen. Simply, I'm engaged, I'm thinking I'm this body, and basically, we want to identify with the body because there is some enjoyment there, right? I can do whatever I want. So, I mean, whatever pleases me, eat all the food that I like, go and do all the work that I like to do, meet, socialize, and with all the people I enjoy, and, show off and all these things we enjoy. That is why we identify with the mind and body. But he has come to his realization that I, infinitesimal spirit soul, on the other hand, yeah, I actually I'm not that. I've become engaged in enjoying. And because of that, I've become entangled due to the contacts with the modes of nature. Dhanam swadharmo. Oh, what's the time? Okay, I'll stop now. So beautiful this because um, especially Bhagavatam is meant for those who have come to, this realization that I don't want to be in this material world anymore. We have woken up and we want something, the truth. We want the truth. We are ready to face the truth. Most of the people, they don't want the truth. They like this illusion. They like to think, I am this body and I will do a lot of material pious activity, whatever it requires. I'll do that so that I get better enjoyment. And I want to be in Maya. Such people become very disturbed if you tell them about your soul and you have a purpose and hell, heaven, and all. They get very disturbed. Don't talk all these things to me because they don't want to think about it. So for them, Krishna has got other things, karma kanda section for them. But if we have somehow by good fortune, we've come to the understanding that there is something more to life than simply just sense gratification, then Bhagavatam is the best book to give us the absolute truth. And this is very, very nice, Canto 11, because Krishna is himself speaking. It started with the Nava Yogendras telling King Nimi and Narada Muni, starting with actually Narada Muni giving instructions to Vasudeva. Was and Was Vasudeva felt, I did all that tapasya just to get a child, but I never asked for any liberation or anything. So he went to, when Narada Muni came, he asked him, please instruct me. And then he started telling about the Nava Yogendras and all that. And then we have this Uddhava Gita, which is super fine, complete knowledge, packed with absolute ultimate knowledge to elevate us in Krishna consciousness and make us always happy. Always, if you're working in the consciousness that I am a servant of Krishna, then we will work selflessly. That is the secret of success. Secret of success is I don't do it for my selfish enjoyment. I do the way it has to be done according to, I follow all the rules and everything, do everything the way it has to be done with lot of integrity and um, without, selflessly for the benefit of course, others will also be benefited when we do for Krishna. For us in Krishna consciousness, it is beyond even the mode of goodness. When we are not even thinking just that it's for everybody else's happiness. A devotee can never just think, oh, it's all for myself. I'm very happy. I'm happy. My family's got it. I've got it. Oh, great. I'm not bothered about others. No, they'll feel very guilty. No, no, no. I have to do for everyone. That automatically comes. So, um, so if all our actions are done like that, success is bound to come. Any endeavor. That is why the last verse in the Bhagavad Gita says, wherever there is Krishna and wherever there is a devotee like Arjuna, all victory, opulence, um, uh, great determination, morality, everything will be found. Of this, there is no doubt. So only because we're acting on the material platform, we don't do things properly. And then our karma also catches up with us. And it's done with a little sense gratificatory thoughts and desires. So it is like not really so much. effective. It doesn't produce the good it can for the world. If everybody acted in Krishna consciousness, then this place is no different from spiritual world. But because here you find everybody is only thinking about how to satisfy my mind and my senses. So how you can depend on people unless they are devotees, unless they have got some mode of goodness by which they want to do things for the, not just for my own thing, but I should do what is correct, what is good for everyone. So that is possible by taking to Krishna consciousness. We become more sensitive, about aware about people around us, and we want to do things that is good for everyone. And ultimately, we want to satisfy Krishna in all our actions. That is perfection. And when we do that, there is no doubt whatever you do will be successful, but we will not be attached about enjoying that success. Success, that is Krishna's success. Happiness for us is I did what Krishna wanted. I'm happy. He is happy. My relationship with him is perfect. That is my source of happiness. If Krishna and Krishna's success is very happy for me, it's because of me only. Whatever Krishna wanted happened. So we feel very joyful for his success. Like, for example, now this Ayodhya Dham, the temple was built. It is Ram's success, is his victory. So everybody is also feeling very proud, but they're not proud in a selfish way, giving credit to all the people whoever worked for it and feeling joy. It is a because it's everybody's success. So in that way, when we work for Krishna's success, we will definitely be successful. So that is the happy state of affairs. And that's why this very deep realizations song the Avanti Brahmana is having for our purification. Because just imagine, we are supposed to go to the spiritual world to associate with Krishna, and we are supposed to be like those eternal associates, and we are far, far, far from that standard. So naturally, whatever anarthas we have to be purified, and we can speeden it up and prevent suffering by ourselves voluntarily taking shelter of Krishna and begging him, please let me act as your servant, and not not try to gratify my mind and senses. If we ourselves voluntarily do that, then we can avoid suffering, and we can make good progress in developing spiritual qualities. Otherwise, how we can go back there? We're not qualified. So that has to be our not wasting time on unnecessary temporary things which don't matter. Of course, we have to take care of ourselves, but our focus should always be that I have to please Krishna. Okay. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Any questions or comments?
Mataji, Hare Krishna, please accept my humble conversation.
Yes, Prabhu.
Mataji, this part I couldn't understand because the Brahmana is saying that my happiness and distress not due to my past work or time, rather it is the mind alone. But what I understood so far is past work is also is contributing for happiness and distress, right?
Yeah, but that experience of happiness and distress is coming through the mind.
Okay.
Mind is saying, because we think this is enjoyment, that is this thing, because we think we are identifying with our mind, and we think if our mind is happy, I'm happy, or we think I am the mind only, and whatever the mind says, then only if the mind says this pleases me, then I'm happy. Mind is disturbed, we get so disturbed, right? If mind is not happy, oh, then we become very, very disturbed. We'll do anything to make the mind happy. That is what is the illusion.
Okay.
Actually, yeah, it's clear.
So due to past karma, Mataji, that whatever we have done wrong, that will come. But at this stage also, if somebody is controlling the mind, then he is is above and beyond this happiness and distress, right? Always he will be in the steady state.
He will be experiencing great happiness in serving
Okay,
Krishna.
serving
So all
Krishna.
this
Okay,
won't even mean anything to him.
okay, okay. Thank you, Mataji.
We pray for His Holiness Jatak Swami's complete recovery and good health, and then and protection from all diseases and speedy recovery, and also protection from all diseases for his servants. And we pray for good health, well-being, longevity, and protection from all diseases and speedy recovery for all Prabhupada disciples, for all our devotees and their families. And we pray for Karnataka to get rain, and we pray for peace and tranquility, protection from all terrorist attacks within India and all peace all over the world. So let us chant 3 times. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare, Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Hare Rama,
Ram
Rama Rama, Hare
Rama,
Hare,
Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Rama
Rama
Rama,
Hare
Hare Hare.
We pray for Rasashekar Prabhu's speedy recovery. We pray for